Hey, good evening, everybody. This is our annual Tuesday Zoom meeting. We have been inviting some special guests to be on this Zoom call. And the purpose of this is so that we can really share ASEA powerfully, how it's affecting people in their lives, what it's doing. And tonight I have a special guest that I actually met early on in my ASEA years. And it was quite the chance meeting. So I was at the corporate offices, and there was a gentleman sitting on the couch at the corporate office. And I went and sat down by him. He was contemplating, just sitting there in deep thought. And I sat down by him, and I just turned to him and said, you know, what are you doing here? And I didn't know if he was going to be friendly or not, or he really was in deep concentration. And he started to tell me how grateful he was for ASEA and for the founders, for Vertus Norton, and that he was sitting on that couch just by chance. He wanted to see if he could meet somebody walking out of their office, just to tell them how grateful he was to have ASEA and the technology. And I have shared that story more than one time. So I was so grateful to be able to meet you that day, Frank, and to sit by you and to talk with you and just to hear your gratefulness for this technology and what an impact that it had on your life. So thank you so much. And I just will do the official introduction. This is Dr. Frank Melograna. He's a medical doctor. He's a urology specialist in the Greenbelt of Maryland and has been practicing for 37 years. He graduated from Temple University School of Medicine in 1975, and his specialty is urology. So Dr. Melograna, thank you for taking the time to be on our call. You are so busy, and I just am grateful you could take a minute to be with us.
Oh, listen, my pleasure. I'm sorry, I'm just not so technically advanced here. It took me 15 minutes to just do this, but sorry.
That's okay. Nobody knows.
I do remember that day. In fact, I remember taking the taxi from my hotel. I said, I just have to go to that place and just see and thank somebody because of what it did for me. Do you want me to tell a little story?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
I do.
So, my goodness, it's about 5.5 years that I've been drinking ASEA now. But I still remember like yesterday. I mean, I always talk about my life before ASEA and my life after ASEA. And really before ASEA, I thought I was getting old, and I was having a lot of the problems that a lot of my patients tell me. And I thought, well, we're just going to have to live with it like they do and take all the drugs and the herbs and everything else out there, and physical therapy and chiropractic and massage and everything else for various back issues that I had. So pain was a given for me. I mean, it was from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, and with a lot of excruciating pains during the day, various things that I did, even just sliding out of a car to stand up, was just an agony for me. And, you know, never complain. It was have the football mentality from high school that, you know, you just tough it out and you just go on. And I actually was filling disability papers out, I remember, because I had seen a neurosurgeon who looked at my MRI and rolled his eyes and said, well, I don't think surgery is for you. We would probably make you worse, so please keep doing what you're doing and just sort of live with it. And that was about the time that I after my prayers were answered by a phone call from David Silverman, who I hadn't talked to really in a long time. And I knew David from way back. I had helped him with a little something that happened with one of his family members. And but, you know, we were sort of peripheral friends, and he called me and he said, have you ever heard of this new technology called redox signaling molecules, and specifically ASEA? And I said, of course, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, you know, he went on to tell me what it has done for many people in various areas. And of course, I thought that's just impossible. I mean, my skepticism as a physician came out. Most doctors are very skeptical, by the way, if people haven't noticed. We don't necessarily jump on new things very quickly. And of course, that was my reaction. That was my first reaction. I just thought, David, I'm already taking a bunch of herbs and pills and vitamins and pain pills. I was on medicines that they took off the market because it killed your kidneys. I took everything for pain you can imagine, including herbal things and non-herbals. I didn't take codeine because I didn't want to get addicted to it, but I was on everything else. And it was a handful of pills just to get to work every day. Anyway, it was really just because I knew David that I even ordered 1 or 2 cases, I think, at first. And I still remember when it arrived at my front door, I looked at the case and I said, okay, I won't waste it. I'm going to drink it, get rid of it. And I know it won't work and I'll never call David back again. That was my mindset. That really, truly was my mindset. But I did it religiously. I only drank 2 ounces twice a day then because that's what it said on the bottle. I did it on an empty stomach. And I really had a miracle. In 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks to the day of drinking ASEA, I stood up out of bed and I stood up like Homo sapiens and I stood up erect and without pain. And it was just, I didn't believe it. And I remember walking to the bathroom, getting in the shower and bending over, touching my toes and saying, where is the pain? It's usually there. It's usually there every day. I also had a major injury when I was 16 years old on the football field. My right knee never got repaired correctly. So I walked bone on bone and I probably should have had a new knee 20 years ago. And even that pain was gone. That was probably even more of a thing that I couldn't believe, that the pain in my right knee, which I lived with for 50 years, was gone. And I remember calling David up that day and saying, David, what the F is this stuff? And he said, well, what happened? And I hadn't even really told him what was wrong with me. And I said, David, I feel like I've had a miracle. I said, I can't believe it. I said, but I didn't take any pain pills today. And I said, that's the first time in years. Well, long story short, I haven't taken pain pills in 5 years now. And maybe an aspirin once or twice, but I mean, I haven't taken anything. And the more fascinating thing too, I feel that things have happened to me in 5 years of getting older that have all been positive and not negative. And when I give talks about ASEA, I give a lot of talks in my waiting room once a month at nighttime. I mean, I tell people my memory, and I'm not bragging at all, but my memory has gotten better. I can remember things that I can't even believe that I can remember. I mean, patients who haven't been in the office in 8 years come in and without any notes, I tell them exactly what was wrong with them 8 years ago and what we did and what I gave them. And I'm astounded even that I can do that. And I'm really not bragging. I am giving credit to ASEA. It has done so many things for me personally and for a lot of friends and family and patients. I could go on and on, but I'm sure you probably want me to stop for a second.
No, we're enjoying this thoroughly. You know, when I have people come on, I think I kind of sit here quietly a little bit because I'm so in awe of what this technology can do. And I just have a little thing that I'll read since you did stop that talks about what Dr. Melograna is talking about here. And it talks about as we age, and as stress and environmental toxins inundate our lives and weaken our defenses, normal cellular function declines, and with it, the body's ability to produce and maintain a proper balance of redox signaling molecules. ASEA has developed the only technology that can create and stabilize active redox signaling molecules in a consumable form. This proprietary process suspends these life-giving molecules in a pristine solution, a first of its kind cutting-edge health breakthrough. No matter what your health concerns may be, ASEA Redox Supplement can bring your cellular communication to its optimal levels, improve the health of every system of your body starting right now. So pretty incredible that yours was just about 2 weeks.
It was. I was extremely thankful, as you can well imagine, because I told people that if that case didn't work, I probably would have never called David back. And now I realize that I was very, very fortunate because some people, in fact, a lot of people don't have the kind of miraculous 2 to 3 week changes that I noticed. Some people take months, and I tell people this at our meetings. I said, if you're going to try it, please give it a good 90-day trial at least. I mean, I've known people that sort of take ASEA for a specific problem to try to get rid of that back pain, for example. And it might be 8, 9 months before it goes away, but other things are happening positive in the meantime to them. And if they really track their problems on a list week to week, they'll see that a lot of those other things will get better. This is the fascinating thing about ASEA that I still tell people, that if for an individual, we don't know what it's going to help first. It's almost like ASEA has little eyeballs and it goes to an area that it thinks needs help first. But eventually it will. I mean, I think eventually it will help many, if not all, problems in the body. It's just fascinating to me. And I can't wait till even more research comes out on ASEA, because it's just fascinated me. It's changed my whole life. There's no question about it.
I remember you telling me that you were ready to be done practicing as a physician.
I really was filling out disability papers, and I tore them up. I mean, I didn't need them after a couple of weeks. It just, I mean, energy. I mean, I had 3 little children at the time, and when I would come home from work, I was exhausted. They want to jump on my back and ride me like a horse, and it was the last thing I would do. I mean, right now, I could get on the ground. I could put all 3 of them on my back and walk around. I could do that. It's just amazing. I mean, the energy, the internal strength, I call it God's energy, really. I mean, because it's not a 5-hour energy drink. It's not caffeine. It's not artificial energy. It's the real energy that your cells develop themselves. And ASEA is an assist. It's the person who throws the basketball to the other guy who scores. Well, that's what ASEA is. ASEA, that's another thing I say in my meetings. ASEA is the assist. It assists your body in doing what it's supposed to do. It's a paradigm shift. There's no question. I mean, because I try to get people to understand things that we were really never emphasized in medical school, like the healing process. I mean, we learned a little bit about it, but not much. There wasn't much to learn. You know, you learned how to sew people up and take this out and do this and that, but then you assume that the person's going to heal. And there wasn't much taught in medical school about that. I don't even know how much still is taught. But this is such a dramatic change in that second half of the equation, so to speak, about the healing process. Very interesting. I mean, I always tell people, even about my sister, who was 61. She's on the call right now. She was 61 when she fractured her wrist. And it was one of the worst fractures I ever saw on X-ray. And even the hand surgeon told her that. He had to put a plate in both her radius and ulna, both the bones in her wrist. And he told her she'll be in a cast probably for 3 months, but to come back in 3 weeks, they take the cast off and put a new one on. And when she called me and sent me her X-ray, I said, Anita, drink double the amount of ASEA. And we had been on it for about 5 months at that time. And she went back, he took the cast off and did an X-ray at the 3-week mark. And he walked in the room shocked. He said, I can't believe it, ma'am. You're 61? She said, yeah. He said, your bones are healed, and I've never seen this except in a kid. So it's kind of very interesting that she healed like a child at age 61. And I think that's important, Laurie. I'll tell you what, I think that's important because if your immune system can come and heal something in 3 weeks that should take 3 months, then when an abnormal cell develops in somewhere else in the body, your immune system is going to be right on it. So I think we're allowing our immune system to work better. In fact, in the latest study, right, that was just published at the convention, it improved in overall immune function by between 30 and 35%, I want to say.
Yeah.
So the genetic study. So it's, it's sort of all coming together. All the pieces are coming together. And I still find it fascinating what it does for people. And as I said, if they keep track of all their problems, even things that they've given up, they sort of thought, they're going to have to live with the rest of their lives. People are shocked that it has an effect on all those things, like my 50-year-old me. So.
Wow. And you're working long hours now.
Yes. I mean, I was up Saturday night all night long. I was in the operating room. I don't think I got a half hour sleep Saturday night. And I just drank extra C on Sunday and I was fine. I mean, I really felt okay.
Wow.
So yeah, it helps your internal energy, really. Cellular energy is what it is.
Wow, we need this to be in all of the drink machines at the hospital.
Right, exactly.
In all of your back refrigerators.
Right.
So we get our doctor's best brains and best function, and
Right.
especially when you're out there saving lives, literally
Right.
saving people's lives. So
Yep.
what gratitude we have for you, Dr. Melograna. Thank you.
Well, I have all the gratitude in the world for all you people at ASEA and Gary Samuelson and Vertus Nor, everybody. I mean, it's I just I'm so thankful. I have to say, my father always used to say, if something is too good to be true, it probably is. But I wish he was here to enjoy the benefits of ASEA as our mother has. Our mother is 96 years old, broke her hip about 4 months ago. And not only was she not in rehab for 3 months, she was in rehab for 3 weeks, and then she went home. And the
Wow.
nurses and doctors couldn't believe it. Anita gave her about a half a bottle of ASEA every day. And the doctors kept looking at it, goes, what is this stuff? It's going to give her high blood pressure. And Anita kept saying, no, it's not. We're giving it to her. And she healed in 3 weeks, was walking about 2 days later. I mean, from a 96-year-old fracture. And people die from fractures at that age.
Oh, yeah.
But ASEA has helped her, I mean, dramatically. So we have a lot of personal stories about this and patients also.
Yeah. Well, we have taken so much of your time already. I have to say thank you. And for sharing your heart, everything. I know that you've got stories with Renew 28. Our time is up.
Yeah.
But you're just so wonderful. Thank you for being on the call.
It was my pleasure. Really, thanks. Anytime.
And Anita, I want you to say hello too to everybody.
Hi, everybody. You have 1 minute for my latest story?
I do. I
Okay.
do.
So about 2 months ago, I got T-boned by a truck, and the truck had a trailer, and he was speeding and came through a stop sign. I was halfway through a stop sign and totaled my car, and I was bruised. My whole right side of my body, left side of my body was bruised because he hit the driver's side of the car. And got out of the car, and they, of course, want to take me to the hospital. Nothing was broken. I was sore, but nothing was broken. I drank a bottle of ASEA every day. Of course, I called Frank first. And I said, Frank, what do I do? And so I drank a bottle every day. And you know how they say in day 2 or 3, you get worse when you're in a car accident, which I've never been in, actually, but this is what happened. By day 3, I got up, and I was in half the pain I was in from day 1. And I mean, I still hurt. Don't get me wrong. I still hurt, but I rubbed Renew on my side, and I kept drinking a bottle a day until I was about 50%. Then I went down to half a bottle. But when the EMTs tried to get me to go to the hospital, I said, well, what are they going to do for me? And they said, well, they're going to give you pain pills. And I said, no, thank you. I'll take care of that myself. And I said, well, didn't you see my license plate? Because my license plate says OMG ASEA. And they're like, what's that? I was like, couldn't get into it. Usually I do, but, there was no time. But at any rate, didn't go to the hospital, came home, and basically took and actually I had gotten burnt from the airbag on my left side of my arm. I hadn't seen that for like 2 days, and then all of a sudden I see it's all red and swollen and burnt. I put Renew on it once or twice. By 3 days later, there was nothing to see, not even a mark. But yes, I didn't do that on purpose, though. By the way, everybody thinks I do things like this on purpose.
Yeah, some people think we do these things just so that we'll have ASEA stories to tell.
A story, yeah, no. But at any rate.
Well, you guys, thank you so much, Anita.
Thanks.
This is Frank's sister, Anita, and they are dear friends. So I appreciate you both being all here tonight. Our time is running up, and the video.
You're very welcome.
It's going to kick us off here.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, bye, Lorianne. Good to see you.
I have to tell you, thank you so much for taking a minute to be here with us too. Thanks, Anita.
You're very welcome.
Good night.
Anytime.
Thanks,
Good night.
Dr. Melograna. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.